You asked for clean, and we're giving you pristine, clear, transparent EQ and compression and shape with the Weiss Gambit Series channel strip for Console 1. What was previously available only to top mastering engineers is now available on every single channel in your DAW by combining the DS1 and EQ1 into one channel strip. Let's get started with some drums to see what we could do. While we think of these units as being mastering grade units, there's no reason they can't be used in a mix. Listen to how we could take the fundamental of a kick drum and bring it out. We're going to start by taking our low gain and bringing it up. We'll sweep. And right in there, we start to bring the chest sound of that kick drum to life. Let's put a cut right after it to make a little bit of room for a bass. And then let's just clean up the super sub-lows. Let's see if we could use the bands of the EQ1 to help eliminate the ring in a snare drum. With the EQ1, we can get an extremely narrow bandwidth. And right in there is my ring. Let's cut that out. So we're able to eliminate the ring while still preserving the integrity of the sound. And now let's cut out some of the low rumble by using our low cut. Notice we just get rid of the lows without compromising the top end of the snare. And now let's add a little bit of a natural boost to bring out some of the snare on top. Now we're getting back some of that nice snap from the snare. Now in our shape section, we have a gate, and it could work like a traditional gate. So let's start there by setting our ratio with the sustain knob. This could also be called below threshold expansion. And to make it really clear what we're doing, let's use a hard gate. We'll adjust our threshold. Now this is extreme, but to prove a point. Let's use the range knob so we're not completely cutting it off. And then let's get out of the hard gate and just go to a more musical, gentle gate. Now that's super cool, but what if we want to do the opposite? What if we want to use some below threshold upward compression? Because we're going to be affecting the sounds that are below our threshold. Let's take our ratio in the opposite direction and listen to what happens. And let's shorten that release. That's a huge difference in terms of bringing out the room sound of the snare. Let's jump into some drum overheads and listen to how some below threshold shaping can really bring out the room ambience in our sound. Listen to the difference between the hard gate and the standard setting. That's amazing. What a dramatic difference. Now we have a compressor that's built on the DS1. And this is a super clean compressor that can compress our sound while still preserving transients. We're going to bring the ratio up a ton to crush it. Bring our attack down. And then parallel mix some dry signal back in. A question here is, how does the drive and character, which are two of the defining characteristics of Console 1, how do they work with a super clean channel strip? And the answer is, instead of treating drive and character like we typically do, drive now feeds the limiter of the DS1, and character decides what type of the 3 limiting we would like to use. Listen as I bring up my drive and adjust my output volume or my DAW volume to compensate. The limiter comes before the DAW volume, so you could use the two together. And now that we're really cranking down on that limiter to the max, see if you could hear the difference between the 3 different types of character. The first character is the DS1. That's the one that was featured on the DS1 hardware. There's also a Type 1 and Type 2 limiter that's developed by Softube. The biggest difference is the way it handles transients. And for drums, I kind of like the way Type 1 sounds to my ears. But the DS1 is also great if you're looking for something that also rounds out those transients. If you're looking for something that's clean, that's going to give you a mastering grade sound across all your tracks, or even just 1 or 2 tracks, the Weiss Gambit Series for Console 1 is going to be your go-to EQ, compression, and shape for your most important tracks that need clean processing.